Israil Madrimov versus Errol Spence Jr. must happen, and I believe it is one of the biggest fights to happen in boxing for the hardcore fans. We saw how great Madrimov was against Terence Crawford, really built up his profile massively in that fight. Errol Spence, like we all know, he's an absolute great of the sports, if we're being real. People are judging him a lot on the loss to Bud, but at the end of the day, he's still one of the best in the welterweight division, and I think, welterweight, super welterweight division, he can mix between the two, of course. Madrimov, I think, is a really difficult stylistic matchup for Errol Spence Jr. I think he's a really difficult matchup for him. I think he is. I think he's really, really, really awkward for Spence. But again, though, Spence could be really awkward for Madrimov, because we saw when Madrimov fought Crawford, he did struggle quite a bit against that southpaw jab. But for Errol Spence Jr., I think he struggles quite a bit when he's getting pushed back. And as we know, Errol Spence has that southpaw jab. And as we know, Madrimov's very good at being able to push his opponents back and, control on that front foot. And that's what Madrimov does well. But I think when Spence is on that front foot, though, it is hard to get Spence on the back foot. When Spence is on that front foot, though, he's an absolute beast, isn't he? Let's be real. Spence is very good putting his body shots together, with his very long reach. He's a very, 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 very dangerous man to be in there with. But I think Madrimov's feints make him really awkward. His footwork's on a different level overall, to be fair. It's absolutely fantastic. Good head movement as well. And, it's just a great fight with two, great overall boxers who are very ridiculously skillful, different kind of styles. And, it's a great clash of styles overall as well, to be fair, this one. I think it's a very, very, very intriguing and exciting fight. I think it's a very underrated matchup as well. I think this one's got to be a fight that must happen next. 100% in my opinion. This is one I would absolutely love to see. It's got to happen. Huge, huge, huge fight. I think it's difficult to pick a winner, but I don't know. I might actually pick Madrimov to win this fight. I think if he can push Errol Spence back, I think he'll put him in trouble. I think Madrimov's counters are very solid as well. And Spence, I don't really think he likes fighting too much against counter punches, especially as what we saw against Bud. I think he struggles when he is getting counted, and I think Madrimov can push Spence back, and Madrimov is accurate with the shots that he does land. But again, no, Spence could really dig into that body, trouble Madrimov with that southpaw jab, and, keep him at range and, really try and frustrate Madrimov. But Madrimov always keep coming at him, though, with his feints, and then, unpredictably putting his shots together well. I think I really do think it's one of the best fights that can be made in boxing right now. I think the intrigue is 100% there, and I think Madrimov has built his profile massively. I don't see any reason why Spence shouldn't take this fight. Turki Al-Sheikh saying that he wants to, build up the American stars, and Errol Spence is certainly one of them. And I think he'll probably like Israil Madrimov after. Well, of course he does, after putting him a main event against Crawford. So I think this could be made by Turki Al-Sheikh. I think it's a big fight that could happen in Saudi Arabia. It could main event a big show as well, in my opinion. I think there's so much intrigue there, and Madrimov's building his name, and Spence one of the biggest names in American boxing right now, if we're being real. So, and I just think it's the perfect fight to make. It makes complete sense for both of them, both coming off losses to Bud, and both really trying to. Let's be real, whoever wins this fight could put themselves right back into title contention, trying to get a belt back. This is what this fight does. It's huge. I mean, if they can vote, well, if Madrimov beats Spence, it's a bloody fantastic name to have on his record. 100% probably the best win. But for Errol Spence as well, I think Madrimov's also probably going to be one of his best wins if Spence can beat Madrimov. So, you know, it's a huge fight for both guys with big stakes, and it's a big 50-50 fight as well. And the fans, you know, will be really interested because it's so hard to predict, in my opinion. But I would go with Madrimov. I think if Madrimov can push him back, I think he can really put Spence in danger. I think it would. I think overall, I mean, you know, I've seen people criticizing Madrimov for just, you know, throwing a lot of single punches in that fight, but I think I think he does pivot very well, and I think he does put lots of shots together well from loads of different angles. Overall, to be fair, I think he's awkward and he's very unpredictable for you to be able to deal with, and it's a very good fight because Madrimov has his flaws against southpaws as well, against the jab. And if Spence can get the body shots going, that certainly makes things really interesting as well overall. So I think it's a very great fight with Lottie there. I think it's got to be one that happens later this year or in early 2025 in Saudi Arabia. It's a huge fight which must happen 100%. No doubt in my mind, this is one of the biggest fights that can be made right now by Turki Al-Sheikh, and I really do believe he will put a fight like this together. I really do see it. He put out a big statement earlier on today saying, yes, he does want to build up the big names in America, of course. Spence is one of them. He's had Madrimov on one of his cards in a main event, who made a fantastic impression. You know, I don't see any way why this fight can't happen overall, to be fair. And I think Madrimov probably wins it as well. I think Spence, he's just had a lot taken out of him. Bud took a lot out of him. You know, let's be real. I think, you know, the accidents he's been in as well probably did take a lot out of Spence as well. And I think it's clear as day to see right now, Madrimov's getting better every single fight, 100%. And he's 100% in his prime, not even 30 years old yet. You know, I don't think Madrimov loses this, but you know, there's still the intrigue there because you can't rule Spence out. But I would go with Madrimov to win at this point in both their careers. But people would disagree. That's why it's so interesting. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, Keels. Speak to you in a bit. Thanks for watching.